Brothers and sisters, let us rejoice because tonight we are celebrating the Holy Saturday, Easter. And the theme of our preaching today is the question of the risen Lord to the women looking for him. Why are you looking for the living one among the dead? From Luke chapter 24, verse 5. We reflect on this theme in 3 points. The first is the history of humankind and the history of the quest for life. And second point is how do we look for life in death? And third and final point, how do we look well for real life? The first point, we see all these readings in this night, so many readings, resuming the whole salvation history, that the history of Israel, let us even say the history of the whole humankind, is nothing but the quest for life. Creation itself is creation for life and not for death. God has not created sin. Secondly, sacrifice of the Exodus is for life. The lamb, Passover lamb, is for life. It's an exchange of life. Through sacrifice, we exchange the life of an animal for the life of a human being. Then we see the image of the relationship of God with Israel in salvation history in the book of Isaiah, which is described as a kind of marriage. This relationship of God and Israel is a relationship for life and not for death. And finally, we see how God promised his people a new heart and new life. Second point, how do we look for life in death? Like these women looking for the risen one in a cemetery. Yes, we look for life in death by fighting for the bread of death, by fighting for money, the money of death, by having all kinds of marriages that are actually marriages of death. We even go up to have a death cult, up to worship death instead of life. We have to ask ourselves if really all what we take as value, all what we take as life-giving is really life-giving or death-giving. Third and final point is how do we seek for real life? In our lives, we have to seek for real bread. Not the bread of death, but the bread of life. The bread that comes really from God and that empowers us to worship God and to come closer to him. And this bread is actually Jesus himself. And we can experience it through the Eucharist. We have also to fight for good food, for good money, for good worship, in order to worship the true God, the God of life. For this, we need a spirit of discernment to discern life, whatever surrounds us, to see what is life bearing, what is life bringing. And we have to cooperate with God, with the risen Lord, in order to establish a kingdom of life, of justice, peace, and love. Let us pray that the risen Lord may empower us to change our life, our personal life, to change the life of our families, to change the whole earth, that the resurrection of the Lord may be for us really a new creation, the creation of a new world of justice, peace, and love, where it is wonderful for brothers and sisters to live together and reveal the glory of God, the love of God to the world. Amen.